You again. This is this discussion segment. So good morning, Anambra. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me see, Jama. That's morning. We're going to look at what should I even say, almost trending, because you go to different states and different communities in Nigeria now, you find out that there are people that have been displaced, living outside their homes. Okay. Then, not to talk of the international aspect of it, look at what's going on in the Middle East and a whole lot of places where you have wars and conflicts here and there. You find out that the people are displaced, living outside their original abode. Okay, that's why we want to talk about it and see what we can do to ensure that people live right. Okay. The topic is the power of community in supporting refugees, and this is to commemorate the 2025 World Refugee Day. In case you don't know, today is World Refugee Day, and the theme for this year says community as a superpower. Okay, this morning I've gathered some people that will help me talk on this topic. The first person is Chukura Michael Ebuka. Chukura Michael Ebuka is the Branch Communication Officer, Nigerian Red Cross Society, NRCS. Good morning and welcome to our studios. Michael.
Good morning and thank you.
Okay, I also have Mayor Innocent Egwatu. He is the State Scout Commissioner, Anambra State Scout Council. Good morning, Mayor.
Gracias.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, you heard my introduction, and if you don't mind, let us first of all try to find out who is a refugee. Let me start with you, Red Cross.
Okay. A refugee is someone that been displaced from its country forcefully, okay, making them stateless, and as a result of war zone or crisis, okay, you can't be a refugee in your country, just like the situation going on in Benue State. They are not tagged as refugee because there is no way you're a refugee in your country. It has to be a different country coming to another country. That what makes them a refugee.
Oh, yeah. Okay, really, that's a good one. Do you share the same idea when it comes to the definition of a refugee? Who is a refugee? Because I remember in those days they say that my mom would say that during the war that they were refugees in wherever they were in those days. But from his definition now, you can't be a refugee in your country.
Yes, I support his view and the explanation because that is the generally accepted definition of refugees. And those within their own country, in Nigeria, we call them internally displaced persons. So, and the refugees are the people that are normally, maybe because of wars, because of political persecution, because of natural disasters, or whatever, they find themselves out of their own country seeking refuge in a different country other than their own. So I support his definition of the term refugee.
Okay, let's look at the peculiarity of refugees and then people internally displaced people, or whatever you call it, that's IDP. Yes. So what is the difference, or rather, I mean, okay, just what's the difference between a refugee and internally displaced person? Yes.
To me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. There really one distinctive difference in that aspect, because as a refugee, like I said in my first speech, you cannot be a refugee in your country, okay? So, and you know what it means to leave your country starting all over from the square one and coming to a different country where probably there's a language barrier. You try to integrate yourself with the community.
Speak louder, let's hear you.
Where there's a language barrier, you try to speak, you try to integrate yourself into the community, and sometimes there's this discrimination. This person is not our own, it's from a different person, maybe from the francophone sides and everything, or racially abusing and everything. But for an IDPs, we all have done that. This is us, this is our people, except some few cases whereby maybe they speak different language from what we speak and everything, and we understand because we key into their problem easily because we know where they are coming from. and we know why they left their place. And yes, they're starting from the beginning also, but not fully, in the sense that they're still in the same country, same government governs all of us, the same rules and everything. It's just that the housing issue and working issue and everything becomes a little bit quite difficult for them. So that's just the distinctive difference between both of them.
Okay, but this is an international definition of who is a refugee. Is because if you allow me now, we are going to argue it out, because I don't see any difference between somebody that left his place, okay, assuming that there's a war in maybe Kwara or Shun State, and some of them moved down to this place. They don't understand Igbo. They don't have relations here. They don't have houses, nothing. And you know, when you are running because of war, you don't come out with anything, okay? So they come here and start life afresh. They will learn language. They will start to integrate themselves in the society, and a whole lot of things.
There is a clear distinction, you know, because those, why we call them internally displaced persons, is that they have rights. They have their citizenship in that country of their origin.
Okay.
They have their rights. They have their citizenship. They can access some certain privilege from their government. But these people do not have rights.
Such privilege.
That is, they don't have the citizenship, and that is why we, like in Nigeria, we created one commission for National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and internally displaced persons. These people are now in charge of those refugees to issue them ID card as a form of protection. But once I'm a Nigerian and I know that I'm a citizen of this country, that I'm displaced maybe because of flood disaster, it's quite different from a Cameroonian, because he doesn't have that citizenship. He cannot vote in my country or be voted for. But I have every right to equally say my own opinion in my own country and be heard. That is clear distinction. That's citizenship.
Okay. Agreed. Agreed. Okay, let's now look at the factors. So what are the common causes of, that could force somebody out of his place, you know, displace the person from one point to another? Apart from war, are there other things, Michael, that could make one leave his place to another?
Yes, yes. You could be displaced from your home as a result of persecution from your government. Yes, you probably somebody that is a political activist, having a different view with how the government runs its own situation and everything, and feel our life is under threat and they could leave the country. Another reason also that can make you a refugee is that probably you felt the economy of the country is not suitable for you. You decided on your own willingly to leave your country to go for a different country or seek for greener pasture, and you go in there to identify with them as a refugee or an asylum seeker, just to be able to integrate yourself in the community. Flooding also.
Who is an asylum seeker? Who is a refugee? And at the same time, if you seek an asylum to stay, you become a refugee?
Yes.
Can I define it that way?
You can, but there is this issue that makes it look so peculiar, in the sense that before you be granted such, okay, like I said, they need to know why you're leaving your country. If it's not something, you can't just leave your country and go to a different country that you're seeking for asylum there as a refugee, or probably that they need to see the evidence that this is why you're leaving your country. And it makes it so unique that if your evidence is not really glaring for them to see, I think you'll be turned back to your country and everything like that. So you can call them, you can put them together, they work together hand in hand.
Okay, we're still looking at other things that will make one a refugee.
Okay.
You have mentioned
persecution from the government, threat to life,
yeah. Then you mentioned flooding too.
Yes. You know, there've been cases whereby let me use there's been cases of where they have this wildfire spread in some Western the world, yes, and everything. And most times, most of all those those people there, sorry, not migrant, living there, decided to, instead of going to a different state in the same America, they find themselves going to the neighboring country closer to them. Okay, so that's threat to their life. That's one thing that can make them refugee in that country also. Yes.
Natural disaster.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you wanted to add some?
Probably. Then another peculiar reasons that people become refugees is war.
Okay.
War, and that is why this program is very apt at this time. Not only for the commemoration of the World Refugee, but the situation present in the world is creating a lot of refugees. Wars. You see what is happening in the Middle East, and even within our own area, Cameroon, Amazonia, and all the rest of them. These things, wars, is the major thing that push people out from their own locality, out from their own environment or community, seeking refuge in a different, mostly countries that are close to them. And sometimes it may not be countries that are close to them because some countries may not have the capacity to host their own people when they are displaced. So some other nations may now intervene because you have to create a refugee camp. But most of the times, or where it's applicable, where it relates to this community as a superpower, most of them may sometimes be hosted by the host communities. But most of the times, what displaces people and become refugees is war. Then added with what my brother said, political persecution, threat to life, and other things. Thank you.
Okay, these two words, let's try to see if we can separate it. Seeking asylum and seeking refuge. Do you apply to be a refugee? Do you seek to be a refugee in a country just like you apply for asylum?
In Nigeria, yeah?
No, we are looking at
globally.
Generally, yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. There's a body for that, which is the UNHCR.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee. All right.
Okay.
You go in there. First of all, you need to identify yourself as a refugee.
Then you register with them, and by registering them with them, it takes
Time before they peruse and know why you're seeking the asylum and why you're coming, because you can't just walk in there and give them one story and expect them to just work on with what you give to them. So they need to make their own investigation and find out. And they also have a lot of partner agency they work with that can help them do some of the findings, including Nigerian Red Cross, one of them, and some other partner agency. So you have to apply for them, and they have to go through their own investigation and find out why before you be granted or turned down.
Okay, so just the same way you seek for asylum too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want to say anything? Otherwise, I want us to look at what's going on globally now, especially in Ghana. We are Trump. Okay. President Trump is sending a whole lot of people out of America. Most of them refugees, most not even refugees, and then he's deporting a whole lot of them out of America. So, is there no law that can stop Trump from doing, the international law that can stop him from doing what he's doing now? Yes. Mayor.
Gratitude. Well, as my colleague said, we have this United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, solely for the protection of the rights of the refugees. And I knew there are some international conventions concerning refugees. But America in particular is a sovereign state that have their own laws governing them. And I know the president will not work outside the laws governing America, because even the United Nations are there, and there are parliaments and the people, there are some communities, formal ones, that are even championing the cause of these refugees. And so, in most cases, I believe that whatever Trump may be doing in America must be tailored towards their laws, because once these people can prove themselves that they are formally granted that refugee status, I don't think he can move them out from America easily. But you know, because of some people, when they come into the country, they are seeking refuge. As my brother said, they may not even go to those bodies, agencies that are overseeing this. They live in that community, start procreating, once they were, because as I said earlier, host communities most of the times accept them, integrate them, they live within them, and not in the formal camp. So, and once these people are caught, they cannot have any paper or any justification what grants them the right to stay in America. And that is why they will be sent back to wherever they come from. But if they have that refugee status, I don't think the government will violate their laws.
I see. Okay, let's come back home. Let's domesticate the discussion of today. If we don't have refugees, we'll have people, displaced persons. Okay, let's look at how it is in Nigeria. How many refugees and internally displaced persons, that's in IDP, are currently hosted in Nigeria and the West African sub-region? Of course, we know what is going on all over the places. Just yesterday, we read that about 140-something people are coming back, Nigerians are coming back from Niger. Okay, whether they are deported or whatever, I don't know. This is ECOWAS country, you know. But then this this other story. Okay, that yesterday we were saying if they come back and join those who have in IDPs and the whole lot of things, how are we going to manage all this? Can we give ourselves a little account of people that are not living in their homes in this country?
Okay. Let's talk about how we manage them and everything. You know, like you rightly said, we have so many IDP camps here in Nigeria. Even the international body of the United Nations High Commissioner Refugee also have a camp here in Nigeria. They have, I think I can call about 5 to 6 states. They are here, domicile here in Nigeria. They're here
Really?
they're here in Benue State. They're here in Taraba. They're here in Lagos. They're here in Akwa Ibom and Cross River.
What are they doing in Lagos? Are there people displaced in Lagos?
Yes, we have neighboring countries beside Lagos. They leave their place. They come in there.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Okay, they have the head office here in Abuja. Some time ago, they came to Anambra also to have a center here in Anambra. But it's just that the people that were able to identify themselves as refugee that came to register were not up to 2,000. And they left because
you guys should have told us now. We'll raise up our hands now. Come and join.
So you want to be a refugee in your own country?
I don't understand. They're not going to give me food. They give you food and take care
it's
of you.
just that people refuse to identify, probably fear of whatever they think is the problem, not having proper orientation and everything. It's a beautiful thing because once you're able to identify and register with them, they take care of you. And we have so many bodies also aside from the ECOWAS, the United Nations also partnering with the Nigerian Cross to help them send relief materials to these people, healthcare, especially internally displaced people and everything.
People were not properly.
I remember last year we went to the local partner. I remember last year we were in Obaru, Ifto Melo and Anam. Okay, to help those people that were displaced by flood, including their farmland produce and everything. When they sent in relief material to them, we gave them helps, even both in cash and some other items we were able to give to them through our partner agencies outside the country. So, and we also have an understanding, a written agreement with the UNHCR also, which we evaluate every year to help in monitoring and evaluate those materials we share, we distribute to them to make sure that this thing goes to the right people and it comes out with the desired effect why it was sent down to us. So that's it.
Okay. Yes, let's also look at the challenges. Mayor, what are the challenges that refugees face in Nigeria in terms of housing, healthcare, and education? Most of those people that are in the ID camps, their children don't go to school, and a whole lot of things. They don't. It just yesterday. Okay, this morning we heard that those that the yella, what do they call that thing? Yella tower. okay, in Benue State, that are complaining of food and decent accommodation.
That is the major problems of these internally displaced persons, and including the refugees. The issue of housing, food insecurity. Then there are some other security concerns where it concerns women and the girls. These are another challenges they have in those camps. Then culture, integration, maybe assimilation by the communities, and this stereotype misinformation against most of these refugees is a very big problem, one of the very big challenges, and that is why a program like this is very apt now, so that we give out proper information, that we now change that stereotype that the communities have against them. And then it will probably be a very good thing for advocacy, for people to know about the issue of food, because most of the time these people go hungry.
Okay, before we discuss about the food, what do you mean by the impression that the host community have about them?
Most host communities don't view them, because view the refugees and now some of these internally displaced persons, because some of them are not even within their own community.
I know.
Yeah, and most refugees, when they come from outside the country, most communities don't like to accept them because of what? The language barrier, and again, they don't know their motive of being there.
Okay.
But for this thing that is this one that is happening in our own country, for these internally displaced persons, it's quite the same thing because of ethnicity. Yes, so they become fearful.
Now we heard that you guys are violent. You
Yes.
have come to occupy our land.
Yes,
tomorrow
yes.
you become
That
a
is
thorn on our
reality, yes.
flesh. You know, it's not easy. The issue of trust. We don't trust ourselves. That's just it. But the fact remains that are you not informed that there is war where the person was coming from? Nobody would like to leave his home to go and live in another place that he or she doesn't even know. You don't have a house there. You don't have a relation. Nothing. Apart from you being an international migrant or natural migrant like the Fulanis that can, I don't know whether they have any place that they move from place to place, okay? Maybe because of the kind of business they do. Apart from that, no same person will want to leave his original abode to go and live somewhere as a refugee, not as a tenant to do business and go back to your house, that kind of a thing. So let's understand what we're saying. Okay, I also want you to come in, Michael, in this particular question of the challenges that we are facing, or you are facing, those of you that are taking care of those people in the refugees and the internally displaced persons. What are the challenges?
Okay, there's so many of them to mention. I think one of them has to be not having enough relief material, because like I said, when we went to these 3 different locations, okay, like that of Anambra precisely, man, I was
What's going on now?
there was flooding there last year.
Okay, last year.
Yeah, last year, towards the end of the year. All right. So when we went there, things I saw, the things I saw, I was shocked. People were displaced. People were sleeping on the road and everything. And the material we came with was not really enough to go round. At a point, we started doing it by one person from each household, just to see if we can cover up some numbers. But still, it wasn't. When the material got finished, some people were still coming out, Oga Biko, we don't have this thing yet, or Ikenyekwem and everything. And how do you say no to these people? But it's just that you have nothing to give to them. And there's still also this community, the issue of having means of transporting to some region there. There was a place we were going to in that same Anam also. The road was cut off due to water. We couldn't drive our vehicle over there. At the point we decided to fold our trousers and see if we can carry our materials and walk through the water. We were going. It was some of the community people that were around there just said, you people shouldn't go again. No, there's a ditch here, something like this. So we had to turn back.
Oh, what about canoe? What about them, riding you on a canoe to cross?
We couldn't, the canoe we find around there, nobody there to paddle the canoe for us, and we can't do that ourselves. There were canoe around there, about 2 canoe just stand beside the road there, but we can't do the paddling ourselves.
So
it was a serious challenge for us. So just the issue of
how to transport these materials and getting enough materials will really help them. And trying to set up very good settlements for them, because most times when you see them settled in schools, dilapidated buildings and everything, you just feel pity for these people. That why would you be here?
Human beings.
So it's something they should look out for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's also look at the challenges that you raised. The challenge that women and children face in ID camps. You see real baby mamas. Okay, children that are 10 years, 9 years being pregnant in the camp because they are sexually abused. So how do you guys, face that kind of challenge, or how do you handle that kind of challenge?
It's a very serious issue. And most of the times the war stops at the court of the government. And the problem where formal communities like World Scout Organization, the World Organization of the Scout Movement, comes in, is in the side of advocates like this one, trying to bring an awareness to the plight of these refugees and internally displaced persons. Direct aid, like coming in, like my brother explained, giving them immediate aid at that point in time, and then you're left. And again, normally, because of, if it is where we have a scout group close to that ID camp, we normally want the children to be engaged within that scout group.
Okay.
From doing so, it is some sort of a cultural exchange, and then giving them a sense of belonging.
Really?
But the problem is where you do not have those scout groups. You cannot, because scouts have a formal way of training and other things. And again, the problem is volunteers who cannot go, and because these women and the girls, they have more trust to formal organizations like that, communities that comes to assist them. It's a very serious issue because, as my brother said, in terms of housing, if you are sleeping in an open place that is not, because sometimes we assist in tent building, because scouts, we are being trained how to do tent in camps. So, and that is the little one you can provide. But in the normal thing, like if it is government intervention, where the government has the capacity to build a very good structure for these persons, then these women and the children, we have some sort of privacy. That is not so in most of these ID camps. And because sometimes we might not even see security that is guarding and protecting them. So it's like that they are prone to whatever criminality that comes in. So it's a very serious challenge.
Very, very serious challenge. And where you are talking, you mentioned the role of governments. Let's now bring it down, Michael. Apart from what the international organizations are doing to help those in need, like the refugees, asylum seekers, and those in ID camps, what role is Nigerian government playing in providing support and protection to refugees and asylum seekers here? Do you get any kind of connection with them?
Yes, we have a very good relationship with the Nigerian government. Okay. And it makes it easier for us to go about and do our business. Yes, we've not really have any real challenge whereby when we try to go to any host community and we try, even at the checkpoints, even in this how do I put it, this insecurity area, when we try to go there, sometimes we meet the checkpoint of the Nigerian police and the Nigerian military and everything. We have an understanding with them. They just allow us pass. Sometimes you even want to see some of them will just tell us, this place you people are going, no, be careful in this side, or don't go this side. So those things help us. If that relationship is not there, we'll not be getting that.
Yes.
So it's a good understanding we have with the government.
Okay, that's the security aspect of it. So what about funding? You don't want to talk about that? No, you will talk about it, because I know most of the things that you do there, it's money, provision of food, provision of good, what do you call it, accommodation, and a whole lot of things, other facilities, materials that they need in the camp. Okay, so what role is Nigerian government playing? You're in the state, let's talk about the states, let's talk about Nigeria, wherever you are, let's look at it.
The number one support we get from them is the security.
Just that.
Just that. That's what we get.
Mayor.
Well, Nigeria is a peculiar state, as I would say it. Unlike other international bodies, lack of funding is the vein of everything. And I don't know whether it is even before. Prior, I think during the First Republic, I know that government do support formal communities like the Scout movement and the Red Cross and any other, even religious bodies. But this time around, the funding is no more coming. The funding is no more coming. And because of as my brother said, where you can now get much rapport is in terms of security, that the security might give you some intelligence where you are going, how to manage yourselves. But in terms of funding, it is zero. Most of the things...
Okay, they may not really be funding you, but they have agencies that are handling this, like the NEMA,
they have agencies.
the SEMA. So what is your relationship with these agencies, the NEMA, the SEMA? Do you, do you have any meeting point? Those of you from Red Cross and then Scouts, do you have any meeting points with the agencies that are handling this kind of natural disasters?
Yeah, we have a very good rapport with the NEMA, okay, and they've been issued whereby still last year also there was this flooding in Kogi State, and we work hand in hand with them. They were able to provide some things we were able to use there, like the speedboats, life jacket, and the rest for us to go to.
No, you can't. That's government intervention.
Yes.
That's government intervention.
All right. So it's a good rapport also we have with them. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's look at the host communities. Though we have scratched it a little, whereby there's this a lack of trust by the people that are hosting them. But I remember that my mom said that where they went to during the war, there's some of them were living in a camp. That's a refugee camp, like the schools and whatever. But some indigenous community members accepted these people to their houses. I think she and her family, they were one of the people that were accepted in the family. So they lived in a family house. They were given a room. They joined them to farm. They do everything together. They eat together. They provide for them. Do we still have anything like that? Otherwise, that's why I want to ask, are the host communities in Nigeria receiving enough support to accommodate the refugee population? Yes. No, let me start with you.
Probably, yes. As I said in the beginning, that most of these refugees and internally displaced persons, I will say 90%, 89% of them were living with the host communities, not in the formal camp. It's 17 or 18% of them is living in the formal camp. So most of the times, the host communities, as the topic bears, is this superpower. They are doing extraordinary things that the government are not doing. They accepted them. They internalize with them. They live with them. Most of this, if they do not house them, it will be a very serious threat to the state, because the government don't have that capabilities to provide the housing for most of these internally displaced persons.
Okay, so we still have something like that.
Yes, it's still, yes. It's in existence.
People keeping refugees or internally displaced persons in their homes?
To add to what he said,
okay.
I so much thank God for Anambra State, in the sense that Anambra State is one state that is so welcoming to strangers.
Now, we are nice people.
We accept them and everything. And God so kindly, set of people we even had in Anambra State, like when I mean the IDPs and the refugee people, have been so good in the sense that these people are very, very skilled when it comes to artisan and everything. They're everywhere okay? Most times you find them in the masonry, the carpentry and everything. Once you see their work and everything, perfect and everything. And some of them get to blend to become one of us through getting married to our people.
Learning the language, dress the way we dress.
It's because of
get integrated.
It's because of we're welcoming as a state. That is why this situation was able to go easily and everything. If Anambra State is not that welcoming on Nigeria, but I'll keep talking about Anambra State, the one I know for sure. I don't think there will be this smooth transition for them.
Yes, our acceptability of these refugees and internally displaced persons is born in our own culture, because we believe that a traveler has no enemy. Strangers have no enemies. So because we believe most of us are itinerants. So because we believe that our own person must be residing in another man's land. So, and he's there to make a living. So why can't we accept these people? So that is why it is part of our culture. And that is why most of them, that is why even the ID camp that they want to create in Anambra State cannot hold. Because before they are there, before you know it, most of them will internalize with the communities.
Okay.
They will be there doing some manual works. From there, they will become part of the community.
Well, there was this time, before we're going to take a break now, but there was this time that we had this security, how do I even put it? Okay, we have a whole lot of them here that are wearing different faces. The time of, what do you call it, Okada. They were all riding Okadas, living in homes as Megad and a whole lot of things. And some people started asking, are these people not security threats? Who are they? Where are they coming from? How come we allow them to be integrating, with us like this? Are they not going to, unleash a kind of mayhem to us afterwards? Do you ever think anything like that when you are keeping your host? Yes, Michael.
Okay. Yes. No matter how welcoming you are to strangers or these people we talked about, you still have to have that in the back of your mind that what if? That if is a powerful word. What if this person? But it doesn't stop the good in you. It doesn't stop that humanity part of you that these people need help. You can also find yourself in the same condition they are. It can happen to any one of us. So that's why you just now have to find a way to suppress the what if that keeps bringing up your mind and see to their aid.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take a break here. We'll talk to some people and see concerning what we're discussing this morning. So let's feel their pause. When we come back, we'll start concluding.
The first thing is to actually determine why these people are refugees in the first place. If their reasons for being refugees is that probably as a result of one problem or the other, maybe crisis, okay, in their own hometown that warranted they are now becoming refugees in our own community or in our environment, then I think the major thing the government and maybe the citizens of the society could do to make them feel at home is to help them get skillfully engaged.
There could be a couple things done, right? They could bring shelter home for them. They could also create like an organization or something, right, to people that can volunteer, people that can donate or something to help the refugees, you understand, to make them feel safe, somewhere they can stay, somewhere they can get things to eat and all that. So I feel like
these refugees have to stay, where, if at all they are refugees, and yes, we have refugees really, especially those, you can see what happened 2 days ago in Benue. They are not thrown out of their houses. So it's left for government to build a particular place like a hall, where some of these people will be admitted, then take them one after the other to make sure they are refugees. One, they have to provide food, because they are displaced.
What government should do, the role of government in making sure that refugees have good stay or are valued in the country is very, very enormous. For instance, government, first of all, I think the first thing that government should do is to ensure the safety of the refugees. Those coming in should be secure. They should be rest assured that the countries they are about to step in or the countries they have stepped in is secured enough for their own safety.
Government have a lot of things to do. They have to build schools for them, where they will school, though the state government is trying. The state government is trying now, where everybody have to go to school, buy uniform, just enter the school. But that is not the only thing they have to do. They have to build houses for them, put them in order so that they can go to school.
remember that we are looking at World Refugee Day, and somebody just, whispered to me that everybody is a refugee in this world. I came from one place or the other. I settled where you are. That we are all refugees. Okay, no problem. Nobody is contesting that. And then the theme of this year's event is community as a superpower. That's what we've been talking since we started this program, and I still have Chukura Mike Lebuka with me, and then Mayor Innocent Iguatu. Now, let's look at the activities, how you're going to mark this year's World Refugee Day. Any activity on ground, Michael?
Yeah. We have something planned. I think we're working towards something towards like in a week's time. We're supposed to go visit some of these private area also to distribute some relief material to them to help ease their way of life and everything.
In a week's time?
Yeah, we're working here.
You work after the celebration or before the celebration? I think this is supposed to be a week. It should have started on Monday, and then it culminates on the day that you're celebrating.
Okay, it's not really a must that we have to do that very same day.
Oh, really?
It's happening, okay. But it's something that can just in that same week or the following week just to make sure we get our meat, because it's not really easy arranging for these materials and taking them to the right place they're supposed to be and everything.
It's an annual event, so once you finish this one, you start planning for next year's one.
Yeah,
so
it, like you said, it's an annual event, but like I said initially, we get our relief material from the foreigners from the outside country and everything. Sometimes you don't get it as at when you're supposed to get it. So those are the delays that makes it that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's nothing for us. I was supposed to hear times 7 for us to do. Do you guys have anything on ground? That's what people do these days. Yeah, they're celebrating. They're celebrating everything. Let me go and eat rice and drink Fanta.
Probably for this year, the State Council has no program for these refugees. We normally like to advise our own persons to be volunteers, particularly to the church, like the Onitsha Diocese, that most of the times is distributing reliefs to the internally displaced persons.
Are you from Onitsha Diocese?
Probably, yes.
Probably.
Yeah, yes, I'm from Onitsha. Because I'm resident in Oka.
Okay.
So it's like
you are in Oka and you are working for Onitsha Diocese.
Yes, from Onitsha Diocese.
Okay, so we are cut up to me. I live in Onitsha and I work in Oka.
Yes, because I am part of St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church, Jerry here. So, so that is why dual. So that is normally what we normally do, because we don't have the financial capabilities and that support to provide relief materials. So we ask
who are the
volunteers.
No, who are the we?
The Scout Association, Anambra State Scout Council.
Under a big
we
church like Catholic Church?
No, it's not a Catholic church. It's not a thing of a church. Scout is not a thing of the church. We have it in Anglican.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought Anglican do brigade and Catholic do Scout.
Is the church that owns that one, but Scout is World Organization Movement.
Serious? I'm hearing this for the first time. Whenever I hear Scouts, I give it to the Catholics and then brigade to the Anglicans.
We have Reverend Canons that are members that are Scouts. We have Scouts, even most of them in Anglican churches here in Oka.
Wow.
And we have Scouts in the Catholic Church. We have Scouts in other denominations. Once you believe in God, then because that is why the umbrella that covers all of them is what we call World Organization of the Scout Movement. So it's not a thing of the church, but in Nigeria, particularly in Anambra, the Catholic Church embraced it more than others. Maybe because of the way it was projected to them after the war.
Okay.
As a service-oriented this thing that we can use to train kids, because it's from 6-7 years. They start giving you that training, and they will train you how to live outside your community, even in bushes.
You're going to pay me now because you just connivingly marketing your Scouts here.
No,
so this one you will pay. Okay. Yes, Michael. Okay, since there's no rice and stew or plenty this celebration, let's also look at this before we go. The community as a superpower. What does that mean?
I think we've somehow touched around this topic through since our discussion, and that is that. Like I think when my brother here was saying about the community accepting these people, the refugee or the IDPs into the food and everything, because when you accept them, we play a major role by making them feel so good.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. That's superpower. What it really means. Okay, you are now the community is now a superpower to the refugees.
By playing a major role, making them feel safe, giving them a sense of belonging and everything. Once you're able to do this, and if you don't do that, they won't be able to identify themselves with you.
The refugees?
Yeah. Once they come in and they found out that these people are hostile to them and everything, they might not even let you know that refugee.
Oh, okay. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay.
They will not let you know they are refugee, but once they found out that you have a program for them, you accept them and you blend with them, you allow them feel free and to do what they want to do and everything. They come in there and they also come with a vast kind of wisdom, like I said initially. They can also help you economic-wise and everything by things they do, the market strategy and everything helps the economy also. So it's a very, very, very good note on that, the role the community has to play in making sure they feel welcoming.
Okay. The role the community have to play, and that's Mayor, how can the host communities, what role do we expect them to play? How can the host communities balance national interest with the humanitarian needs to protect refugees? Because this is very important. You understand? We have talked about how they take them to their homes, and then keep them and relate to them as if they were a family. Are there other things that we need to add?
Yes, that is where the topic comes in, the community as a superpower.
Okay.
But I view it from a different perspective. And the community has extraordinary abilities where the refugees and internally displaced persons are. The issue of these refugees and internally displaced persons falls on the bulk of the government. But the government cannot do everything, because the communities are part of the government, and the communities may have more influence on the government to provide for these people. Look at the challenges these people are having in our own community, like the one that you raised, the fear. Some people are not even refugees, but organized people that comes in, maybe for one particular thing or the other, as like aliens, but they will now want to key in as part of refugees. It is the community that can draw the attention of the government to that menace. And then whatever the plight the host, internally displaced persons are having, or the refugees are having, it is the community through their advocacy, through their lobbying and whatever to the men in government, those elected officials, because they are their brothers, they know them, they can lobby them, they can influence them, they can ask them, look at these persons, where they are living is not to write home about. You see government, because the government has the capabilities now coming in to take care of those people. And again, the communities sometimes can call for fundraising.
For the refugees?
Yes, for the refugees. Some people do it. In the church, that these people, to this, that. Before you know it, people will donate their clothes, food items, and cash. And then they form the religious bodies they donated it to. We now give it to those, now go and they share it among those refugees and internally displaced persons. So it is particularly the effort of those communities that makes most of us not to feel the negative impact of these internally displaced persons. If we leave it to the government, you will see a very serious issue. So that is why I raise my thumb for the communities. They are doing tremendous work. Apart from that acceptance and cultural exchange. But the major part of work they are doing that is not exposed is from the communities.
I see. Okay, we'll be talking about the communities and what they are able to do for the refugees. Let's now bring in what do you call it, the faith-based organizations like the churches. Okay, what do we expect from them? What role do we expect them to play in this kind of situation? Apart from what you just said, that they can raise money or whatever, because I know that okay, Michael.
Okay. Apart from the major thing the church could do is help create awareness with their members. Okay, you know, as a pastor, as a reverend father, also you have the listening ear of your people. So what you tell them, simply they accept it quickly. Okay, when you keep inculcating them, keep creating awareness, letting them know these people are human beings, are part of us. These people, what happens to them can also happen to you. You keep saying those things into their ear and everything. You see them, you see the community once they go back to their, see the people once they go back to their community, they start acting what their preacher has let them know. So those are the rules, that's awareness, the orientation, letting people know that these people are not bad, these people are not alien, these people are not people you should turn your back to. These people are people you should accept, you should embrace as one of your own. Let that humanity part of you kick in whenever you see them. So
all those sermons you've been hearing, put it in practice. This is time to put it in practice. And then they should also help by way of financing some of this. If you have school, take their children without paying.
Yeah,
okay, give them free education. Try to give empowerment. Employ their fathers to the church to do one thing or the other.
Spiritual aspect of it as well.
So many of these religious houses have hospital, big hospital that can help take care of these people and everything. So you need to start from there also.
Yes, a whole lot of things. Okay, before we go, because our time is up, let's look at some policies that you like concerning refugees that you like the government to look at. Are there policies about what do you call it, internally displaced persons or refugees or migrants or asylums or whatever that exist now that is not functional that you want the government to touch? Yes, Mayor.
I can't say that I am vast about the policies of the government in terms of the refugees, because down here we don't normally have much experience, or apart from those disasters that happen towards the Anambra site and the church went for an intervention. But I know that the government can come up with policies apart from giving them ID cards that the National Commission for Refugees and the Migrants and the Internally Displaced People do issue them. Then the government can equally make some other policies that can maybe, because most of the times when they stay, they are at a point, if the challenges they face in their own communities before they come in subside, they now return back. And that is another challenges they are facing, the challenges of returning back. Because most of them, when they return back, many places have been devastated. So it's led to the government equally to make a policy, if possible, the commission that oversees for not only for their security, can now equally have some intervention funds for them, so that when they are going back to their communities, they cannot have something to fall on before they can now start a new round.
Even build a low-cost house for them.
Good.
Okay, so that you see where to go back to. Most of them, like what happened in Agatu and Yalatewa, Wate, okay, in Benue State, their houses were burnt down. So even if they're going back, they have no home to go back to. This is where we expect the government to come in. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I also believe that the government also should make a good policy whereby once they are into a community and environment, making the workplace environment for them, because if you give them that free hand to integrate freely with you and show their skills and everything, they might not really go back to their country, and they might help you like economically wise.
When you are talking that your population is overblown and you are looking for people to come and settle in your country.
No, your population is overblown. You still see your own people that still wants to leave the country willingly to go look for greener pasture elsewhere.
So who is looking for some people to come from another nation and settle in your own nation?
Even the way Nigerians are flying over to the European countries and the Americans, we still have the Americans leaving their country, going to other countries.
So those ones are going on holidays.
You can't
Don't mind them. They are tourists. They like touring around. How can you leave America? You come and stay here with me here, where you don't have power supply. You don't nothing.
That's the way we see it here.
I beg.
We're just looking at how can you leave that country, but they are coming here to stay.
They are coming here on tourism. Come and look at what we have, and if you have a zero for so that's why they are here. No, but it's true. Thank you very much for coming, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we looked at the topic, the power of community in supporting refugees, and that's to commemorate the World Refugee Day, which has its theme as community, as a superpower. When we started, you may not really understand this topic, but now that we have seen the role that community play in keeping refugees and internally displaced persons, you see how good it is to belong to a community. If you don't have one, go and look for your own. And then encourage your community to nabatandi obian onadema, because just like we established here that we are all obians elsewhere. And what you would like them to do to your own people out there. Now everybody's crying, Trump is wicked, he's driving everybody away. But you also driving the people that came to stay with you. You understand? So let us do what you want to be done to another person. Very important. Thank you very much. Well, brothers, it's just that things are like that. Okay, thank you, Chukura Michael Ebuka, Branch Communication Officer, Anambra, Nigerian Red Cross Society. Do we have Anambra? Okay. Okay. Okay, Michael. Thank you very much for coming today. Okay, and then Mayor Innocent Igwa, to State Scout Commissioner, Anambra State Scout Council. Thank you very much for coming. Gracia, you by saying this, Gracia, what does that mean?
Is thank you.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Gracias.
That is our Catholic.
What else do you do with this, your voice?
Huh?
Your voice. You know you have a good voice. What else do you do with it?
No, nothing.
Exploit. Exploit. You can make a whole lot of money with it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, those of you that joined us today. Thank you. Remember that I will bring you Catch the Bus after this, and we'll have very interesting stories that will make our screen today. My name is Ijama. Do stand by.